All right, it is 6:34 on May 12th, 2025. We'll go ahead and open this regular meeting of the McGregor City Council. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Do we have any public comments? Yes, we do. All right, Eddie, are you just wanting to speak on the agenda item having to do with you, or do you have just general comments to make?
I'll wait.
Okay, we'll get to you. We'll go ahead and go on to agenda item 1. The city secretary will administer statements and oaths of office to newly elected officials of an uncontested election that was canceled by the city council. These documents will be held on file with the city secretary. So, where did she go? I don't know. So, Angela, you have the floor.
All right. Did you already read all?
Yep, it did.
Number 1?
I did.
Okay.
Don't waste time.
Alfredo and Alex, come up to the front. And Sherry.
Yep, sure.
What?
You don't get
Y'all stand up there. All right. Just keep your hands up. Okay. Do you, Sherry Adams, at large, Alfredo Macedo, Ward 1, and Alex Garcia, Ward 3, solemnly swear that you will faithfully execute the duties of the offices of which you hold of the city of McGregor of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of your ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help you God.
Where are they going?
You gotta come here.
Y'all gotta come on up in
Hey, guys.
Renee had to go across for our photo.
I'm Andrew, yeah.
No, if you stand right there, I can still see it. It'll be perfect. Yes. See you next Tuesday.
And I'll see you over here.
Sign that if you, and then I'll deliver it.
Yeah, we'll see you too. And we'll sign those.
Come and go. I'm gonna come for the interview.
Yeah, she showed the
Information.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right.
Thank you.
Taylor, my new neighbors.
All right, we've already gone through agenda items 1 and 2.
Wait, you gotta hold up. It's not set. Y'all still have to come around.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 3, discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of Mayor Pro Tem as selected among the members of the council per requirement of the City of McGregor Home Rule Charter.
Make a motion that we select, our Mayor Pro Tem, for another term.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to elect Renee Flores to another term as Mayor Pro Tem. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Our consent agenda, the minutes of the April 14th, 15-minute council meeting have been provided for you. This is how I remembered it happening, so I will entertain a motion from the floor.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of April 14th, 2025. I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from April 14th, 2025. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item 5, discussion and possible action regarding resolution R-09-2025, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McGregor, Texas, authorizing the exchange of property with the McGregor Independent School District.
Council, you'll recall you put this in motion quite a while back. This would be the cooperative agreement where we go ahead and make the decision. Where did it go? I didn't see it. That's okay. Anyway, this is a resolution that kicks it off. We'll have a deed to do and all kinds of other things to go through. But this gets it started, and it exchanges what we commonly call the C3 or the A100 property for the school gym, the old Woods Field, and the lot to the south of the school gym that goes down to Fifth. And, it's a big trade, got a lot to do. What'd you call it?
Granite Hill.
Granite Hill. Okay. It was really hard when you hit the ground on the tackle, I guess. And Charlie's put this together. Their attorney and the school board have approved as well, so.
All right. Does council have questions for our city manager?
Just as long as I'm okay, did I do that?
Okay, hearing no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve resolution R-09-2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on resolution R-09-2025? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item 6, discussion and possible action regarding interlocal cooperative agreement between the City of McGregor, Texas and McLennan County, Texas for roadwork reconstruction on Wildflower.
Mayor, council. County is currently reconstructing a section of Willow Branch out east of town, if y'all know where Willow Branch is. Since they're out there now, they've got equipment on site. I asked them to look at our section of Wildflower, which is just shy of 4,000 feet, linear feet. So they have given us a price to reconstruct that section of Wildflower, which will let us continue to work in town, plus our city crews are trying to finish some jobs in town as well. The price on the reconstruction of Wildflower is $41,800. So we'll have, this is for an interlocal agreement. We partnered with the county in the past on a few projects, so it's pretty standard stuff.
once again, your county stepped up to help us out when we needed it. And this will be a good way to get this done.
4,000 feet for $41,000. That's a pretty good price.
Yep.
All right, does council have any questions for Chad?
And we have this money in the budget?
Yes, it's gonna be street and alley, out of street and alley.
All right. Anyone else? And then I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the interlocal cooperative agreement between the city of McGregor and McLennan County for road work, reconstruction on Wildflower.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Item 7, discussion of possible action regarding Waco McLennan County Public Health District funding choice for the fiscal year 2025-2026.
Council, we signed on to do this annual increase to get the funding for the health district more even with the users of the services, I guess you should say. The county been carrying quite a bit, but the city of Waco had been carrying a lot for the cities as well. And so this started 3, maybe 4 years ago, I guess. And it goes up per person every year until it gets to the point that we're pretty much all equal for the services provided. Now, Waco gets a lot of services that we don't, and they're mostly grant funded. And Waco, I mean, McLennan County probably gets roughly the same services we have. Of course, we're more concentrated, but that's essentially the program that was started, and this is just the bill for that. And it will be included in the budget this upcoming year. It'll be in the process.
All right, so it will be in the budget. Does anybody have any questions for our city manager?
How long have we been in this agreement? Or have we been in the past?
Say?
How long have we been in this agreement?
Oh, you've been working with, you've been a part of the health district for well over 20 years, since the inception. A lot longer than I've been here, I'll put it that way. I sat on that board for a while, and then when I hired Brian Lemillier, I decided it was time to initiate him onto that board.
All right, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the Waco McLennan County Public Health District funding choice for fiscal year 25-26.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Moving on to item 8, hold a public hearing on ordinance O-06-2025, an ordinance of the city of McGregor, Texas, amending Appendix C zoning, Article 2 to 2.2 definitions, Section 2.3 permitted use table, and Section 2.4 supplemental standards for the land uses of the zoning ordinance of the city of McGregor, providing for definitions and relating to tattoo studios and piercing parlors.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a proposed ordinance. We had a local business that was not a tattoo shop do a pop-up tattoo thing for Valentine's Day, and the question arose, oh, you know, is that a permitted use? What do we have for them? Looked in a code of ordinances, and we didn't have anything specifically relating to tattoo shops and piercing parlors. So felt like we needed to implement something in there. Planning and zoning recommended this ordinance for adoption. It has been reviewed by the city attorney. It does make both of these require a specific use permit to be allowed in the specific zoning. So you should have a copy of that, but it should be central business district, general commercial, and neighborhood commercial would be the zonings that would be allowed by specific use.
And that would need to come to council.
That's
For-
correct. Yeah, they would apply for a specific use permit, come to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning would make the recommendation on that application, and then y'all would make the decision on allowing that or not.
Okay. Well, this item is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open up a public hearing at 6:49. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:50 and move on to item 9, which is discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 0-06-2025, an ordinance of the City of McGregor, Texas, amending Appendix C zoning, Article 2, Section 2.2 definitions, Section 2.3 permitted use table, and Section 2.4 supplemental standards for land uses of the zoning ordinances of the City of McGregor, providing for definitions and related to tattoo studios and piercing parlors. I always like yours. Those are so long.
It's a nickel a word.
All right, so this is the discussion and possible action. Does council have any questions, comments, or slanders remarks for Brian?
What if someone does, let's say, tattooing at their home and they don't have a special use permit? Do we have fines for that, or like what would be?
Yeah, if you know, obviously somebody's doing that, and they're not a business, they haven't registered with the city as a business, and that's not a specific zoning, then code enforcement would go and tell them this is not an allowable use what you're doing, and they continue to do that, then they would get a citation.
I believe it's a state licensed activity.
Mhm.
Anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, they need to have proper sterilization, autoclave, you know, gloves and all that kind of stuff, so.
Any other questions?
This is just from the Valentine's Day event that happened, there's no interest.
There's no interest, no. This is just one of those things where it popped up and the question arose, what do we have regarding that?
Anyone else? All right, at this time I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve ordinance 0-06-2025.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, item 10, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 0-07-2025, an ordinance of the City of Council of the City of McGregor, Texas, amending Chapter 12, Buildings and Regulations, Article 4, Permits, Section 12-224, Application, D, Types of Contractor, 1, General Contractor of the Code of Ordinances, establishing a form survey requirement for any concrete slab poured during construction of buildings and improvements in the city.
Okay. This is a requirement that they have a form survey as part of their site plan whenever submission for a foundation to be poured for new construction or any addition. This arose from, well, we have particular setbacks in different zonings, and we had an instance where the forms were set and the concrete was poured and it did not meet the specific setbacks for that zoning, and almost created an issue. So this would require that not only is the property zoned correctly, platted correctly, and they have a site plan, but the forms are set up and marked by a licensed surveyor and inspected by either the city inspector or whoever our contractor is inspecting the job site. Will come out and verify that they meet the setback requirements before they're allowed to pour the concrete into the forms.
So we're adding this
That's correct. It's a little wonky as to where it goes, but without rewriting the entire section, creating a subsection under general contractor was the easiest place to plug it in for right now.
Well, if you're gonna pour concrete, you wanna make sure you got it in the right place.
Well, I just figured, it's part of the
Well, they set up the forms, but this is gonna make them actually go out and market with a licensed surveyor as to where the forms can go. Yeah.
So what you're saying is the forms don't have to be marked, but the forms do definitely have to be inside a box.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions for Brian? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve ordinance O-07-2025.
We have a motion.
Somebody want a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item 11, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance O-09-2025, an ordinance of the City of McGregor, Texas, establishing monthly and yearly limits on the amount of time personnel are required to spend processing public information requests from a requester.
You gonna handle this one?
You can.
Oh,
You
okay.
can do it more tax sensitive.
Charlie actually gave me a call one day and asked me if I'd be interested in this. He had prepared it for another community that he is city attorney for. And it's something the law has allowed for a little while, but basically, there are people out there who will harass you with, is that a good description? That will file numerous continuing requests for public information. Sometimes they'll file the same request multiple times. I've actually been through that somewhere before. By putting this ordinance on the books, you can establish some limits around that and make them live within that box so that they're asking you for what they really need and want, not just to force you to spend enormous amounts of time looking up stuff. I don't know any, was that tactful?
Yes.
I don't know any better way to put that, and having a retired city secretary sitting at this council table, she can probably refer to some of that as well, but it's, it can get, and we've really not had it here, although we've been harassed a time or two, but it can get really time consuming, and the law allows you to set limits around that, and that's what this is putting in place.
Well, I really think that what we have here is very generous.
I think,
Anyway.
I think that it has to be generous. Because
Well, it is.
you want to respond and you want to be, you want to be straightforward and as quick as you can and get the information to them. But, right, you just can't allow it to be abusive, and this is very generous time, but I think that's pretty much what's required.
And you have a job to do besides this.
Well, there are communities that have as much of this that they have somebody that does it full-time.
All right. Any question what this is about?
I know, just curious though, what would you say would be the longest, Angela, that you probably in a year have spent on open requests from
One
one
person?
requester? If you could estimate, I mean, just giving council too, like an idea.
I can't even get, I mean, there's been like weeks where 2 days worth. And there's not enough time.
Yeah,
But you have to make the time.
Yeah.
That means you work over.
yeah, okay.
Okay, well,
And you're tying a city attorney as well.
Yeah, it's time and money. And then for those requests too, that take us quite a while, we are charging the requesters, correct? Okay.
So, question, if the 36 and the 12, do we have any concerns that we're gonna exceed that early
No.
throughout the year?
That takes care of virtually everybody, but.
But it's there in case.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it can be almost unbearable if somebody's really just focused on it. And you'll know that pretty quickly, and that's when you say, hey, you gotta live within this.
But understand, is there some type of tracking mechanism that is gonna provide some transparency to people that wish to seek public information? Are they gonna know where the hours sit at? I guess my concern would be not to deter people from requesting.
Well, we have to estimate what it's gonna take ahead of time. And that's when you do that.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, that's service that needs to be there.
Yep.
But we don't want to flood our city employees with it either, because, you know, we're paying them to do a job.
Do we charge any other fees for public information requests? Do they charge per copy?
Copy
There's
is
a fee.
10 cents page,
Over some.
$15 an hour if it's over like a, I forgot the town ordinance. Then if it's over $40, then we have to require a deposit. We've had people outside of the city do this. As
It's-
a hobby, you go look them up on Google, and they have done it to numerous cities. And we're talking stacks of paper this big.
But it's, you know, all those parameters are laid out by state law as far as what you can charge and what it goes on and all that stuff. It's not that we don't want to do it, it's just that you don't want it to completely collapse your system.
Understood.
It's basically the harassment. It's not really someone in our community that's wanting to just get our information. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when it's on and on and on, and you don't even know the person, and they're off somewhere else.
And that's what's driving the request for this
Yes.
ordinance now, is somebody outside requesting information.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve ordinance O-09-2025.
All right, we have a motion. Second. And a second.
Who's seconding? I'm sorry.
Alfredo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. All right, one opposed. Item 12, discussion and possible action regarding the industry track agreement between BNSF Railway Company and the city of McGregor.
Council, you'll look at something here that looks like a standard agreement from BNSF, and that's what it was. Charlie Olson has worked on these agreements with two of them in here for probably 6 months back and forth with the folks at BNSF, and also with the attorneys with FNOC to make sure that this is done correctly. We have to have this industry track agreement before BNSF will serve any industry. This is an agreement between us and them. And then, leased land construction rehabilitation track is the companion that goes with it, that just lays out whose track it belongs to, who's using it, how it's done, who's gonna pay what cost, that kind of thing. It's pretty complicated, it's very involved, and I will tell you that Charlie is now an expert on rail. And council was an expert on rail quite a bit through this. Terminology is quite a bit different. Their approach is quite a bit different. At first it seems very foreign, but once you get into it, you get it. And one of the main factors is insurance coverage. And TML wrote us the necessary coverage, what do they call it? Endorsements to go with it specifically for rail. It's a very specific insurance section, kind of all of its own. So a lot went into this. If you have any questions, we got to put these in place before the service can be offered. It's not, they're not ready on their track side yet, so if you want comfortable with this, we table it, but it's ready to go.
You say that Charlie's behind this 100%?
Charlie's dotted every I and crossed every T.
All right.
Much to the chagrin of the lawyers that work out of Chicago for BNSF.
Well, I'm sure. All right, do we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the industry track agreement between BNSF Railroad Company and the city of McGregor.
We have a motion
Somebody say second. I second.
and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. And now the one that Eddie's been chomping at the bit for. Item number 13, discussion possible action regarding street closure of 4th Street between Main and South Jefferson Street for a car show hosted by Tobacco Junction on June 6, 2025 for the First Friday events. Eddie, would you like to come up and explain yourself?
First of all, I would like to say thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City staff. Appreciate you giving me the time to talk about it. First Friday is a conceptual idea that I have that I've experienced in other towns that work very well to rejuvenate, no, that's not the right word, revive the downtown area. If you look at downtown right now, some of us have been here all of our life. And Main Street was completely filled up years ago. And now you look at it and there's 38% vacancy rate. How do you get people to quit driving up and down the road and stop and visit? You have to create something downtown. First Friday of the month, we'd like to close off Main to Jefferson to have a car show. We plan on probably having at least 2 of these, maybe 3 a year. And that's pretty much. I mean, I have a collective business on Main Street of about 13 to 15 of them that have signed on to this First Friday idea. There'll be special shopping hours, deals, stuff like that, live music, art shows, craft shows, stuff like that. So I would please ask the council to give us permission to close it. We would ask the council and the city to set up the barricades, and we have a staff that will take down the barricades at the end of the night, stack them on 4th and Main, and they can pick them up on Monday morning if they choose to. Do you have any question?
All right.
So you want 4th Street between Main and 5th, South, 4th Street between South Jefferson and...
I want from Main Street to Jefferson closed, the alleyway coming out of behind the post office closed off, and then half of the alley of my area closed off, so we contain the car show in that area and no one's trying to drive through there. Because it is going to be a family-orientated program. There will be kids running around, and we particularly don't want any injury. We will have staff out there trying to safeguard a little bit. We will have live music on our property as well. But we're trying to make it as safe and as fun for the citizens of McGregor.
What are the hours gonna be?
5 to 8. And I'd like the city to shut the road down at 4:30, and we will take them down when the cars depart. Almost everybody on Main Street is signed on, except for a few that they are limited staff, so therefore they don't want to provide that extra 8 hours. I mean, extra 3 hours. They already work 8 hours.
All right. So, how does city staff feel about that?
We have no problem with it. I think it's a good idea to pursue it. The chamber's pretty excited about it, and I think we can certainly handle what he's asking to be done.
All right.
Small compared to some of the events that they worked on, so.
Pretty small compared to the next one on the agenda.
Yep. I think we certainly would recommend for it.
So you've got with businesses on Main Street to stay open? Is that what you were saying just now?
That is correct.
There's just
I
three
believe there
now?
was a flyer that was provided to y'all.
I
If not, I
didn't get
could.
into the packet.
Okay. Well, then I apologize because I thought you did.
I can make copies.
I only have one with me.
I can make copies for them.
That's the businesses that have signed on. There are some that signed on this weekend that are not on there.
Do you know?
I already know what's going on. All right, does anybody have any more questions for Eddie? All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the street closure in Fourth between Main and South Jefferson Street for a car show hosted by the Tobacco Junction on June 6th for the First Friday event.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Would they need to come back every time
Yes.
to get approval? Okay. So
Yes.
it's
Well, we're not gonna need it closed all the time because we're not having a car show all the time.
okay.
We will have a first Friday every month, but that's not a required, road closures. You know, that we'll just move the stuff around on the private properties and things will still progress.
I just want to say that that's exciting. I'm excited to see.
But we hope
see it thrive.
we hope to stop 10% of the 18,000 cars that drive by on Friday and Saturday.
And some of these First Fridays will be earlier in the day.
Say again?
Are some of the First Friday events gonna be earlier in the day?
They are not. Everyone
All
in
of them will be from 5 to 8?
5 to 8.
Okay.
Now, obviously, all the businesses are already open, so it's up to the business. If they choose to do their deals for First Friday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's their choice. Us, we're gonna offer 10% no matter what time it is on Friday. But during those hours, there are specials that, you know.
Special things going on?
There is, and we're gonna create like a little punch card for them to pick up at each business, and they can go around. And once a month, we turn that in and we draw a $100 gift card for them, so.
All right, we already have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Start putting out your flyers, Eddie.
It'll be hitting press tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 14, discussion and possible action regarding approval to close 6th Street between Taylor and Monroe from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. on June 8th, 2025 for the Ret Revolutions Bike Night.
Been doing this for a few years. It always is received well. It's always a lot of fun. We can certainly do it again.
And staff has no problem putting out the barricades and picking them up.
They're real good at it.
They mastered it by now, huh?
I think just about everybody here's been involved with one of those. So,
It's pretty fun event.
so if we don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve to close the 6th Street between Taylor and Monroe from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. on June 8th, 2025 for the Red Revolution Bike Night.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. We're on to item 15, receive financials as of March 31st, 2025, and the quarterly investment report.
Great. Mayor and council, thank you for your time. Okay, so we are going over the month of March, which is halfway through the year. It's what we work with whenever we're figuring out the budget and stuff. It's a good checkpoint. Looking at some of the major funds and seeing where they are compared to the budget right now, it's all looking fairly good. The general fund is at 68.2% of revenues and 41.5% of expenses. The utility fund is at 57.3% of revenues and 37.4% of expenses. The Exchange Event Center is at 32% revenues and 51% expenses. The airport is at 40.6% of revenues and 23.2% of expenses. And for the Exchange Event Center, just keep in mind that this is comparing the budget projections to actual. Once we compare this period to last period, we'll see a little bit of a different story being told there. So for the general fund, net cash flow is $828,500 higher than the previous year. Revenues are up $1.3 million and expenditures are up $464,600 as compared to the same period last year. The revenue increase relates primarily to an increase in budgeted property taxes of $252,800 and a budgeted transfer of $1 million from the industrial park from the sale of land. Expenditure increases are primarily due to a contractual payment to the Waco Industrial Foundation of $299,800 and the timing of contracted service payments, with the remainder relating to budgeted increases in personnel services. Utility fund net cash flow is $282,900 higher than the previous year. Revenue is up $156,800 and expenditures are down $126,000 as compared to March 2024. The revenue increase relates to an increase in water use and receipt of insurance funds. Expenditure decreases are primarily due to a decrease in debt service expenses and a decrease in the timing of capital expenditures of $18,000, offset by an increase in personnel costs as budgeted. For the exchange net cash flows, and this is what we were talking about in that beginning slide, net cash flows are actually up compared to the same period last year. Revenues are down $8,200, but expenses are also down $12,800. The decrease in expenditures relates primarily to just little timing differences. For the airport, net cash flows stayed fairly much the same compared to the last period. Revenues are up $2,700 and expenses are up $3,300. And then again, this increase is primarily going to be just timing differences. Okay. This slide is just a top level receipts and expenditures for all funds. And the next slide will get into our where our cash is at. We'll see that we have a decrease in cash from last year, and the next slide will kind of break that down. So we see that net cash in the bank is $6.1 million less than the same period last year, which is expected. Operating accounts are up $619,800. Pooled cash is down $5.2 million. Grants are down $878,000. Capital projects are down $762,000, and debt services is up $80.800 as compared to the same period last year. The next slide is just a comparison of sales tax. So for the period of March, we're 6 months into the year, we're seeing that that trend line continue to go up. I think in future periods, sales tax, it may not look as prevalent, but the trend line should still be positive. Yes. And then the next slide is just our investment report for the first quarter of 2025, ending in March. All right. Do y'all have any questions? All righty. Well, thank y'all so much for your time.
Thank you, Lee. All right. At this time, we're going to go into closed session, closed meeting pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.071 legal and Section 551.087, economic development. A being legal under Texas Government Code, Section 551.071 and Rule 1.05, professional rules of conduct, discussion with attorney on confidential matters. Letter B, economic development under Texas Government Code, Section 551.087, discussion regarding economic development negotiations, including commercial or financial information received from a business prospect seeking to locate, stay, or expand in or near the city of McGregor, and to discuss economic development negotiations and/or to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect. So at 7:20, we're going to go into closed session.
Okay, I'm on.
All right, it is 8:08 PM. We are going to come back into open session with agenda item number 17. Do we have any announcements from the city manager that were not covered in
Only
executive
one, and that's
session?
this piece of paper you got in your packet from the auditors. I went ahead and re-upped them for their last few years. And after this set is over with, we'll need to go out for another auditor.
All right.
Well, we haven't, and you don't have to, but it's just smart to do it. And they've been really exceptionally good auditors.
All right, do we have any requests or comments from council?
I didn't say it earlier. Oh, I didn't say it earlier, but I just wanted to say thank y'all for trusting me to be your mayor pro tem for another year. And also just welcome to the new guys, Councilmember Macedo and Garcia.
I've got Mr. Henderson across the street if I have.
There you go.
Been neighbors 15
Mayor?
years. Yeah.
Everybody, tomorrow evening, 4 to 6, please come to Andrew's deal, and this is gonna be at the Cabot Caulfield Center, and then Stevens is next week. Well, he's next Tuesday. I don't remember signing off on her going to be. Mayor, did you sign off on her going to
I didn't, no, but I'm not gonna try to block it either.
be? You're a smart
Okay.
man.
With no
Thank y'all.
further business coming before this meeting, we'll go ahead and